Hello, loves. Hello, hello. It's Hills here from the Blue Flame Apothecary. Today we are going to talk about the Capricorn full moon. It's happening on the 3rd of July, the wee hours of the morning here on the Pacific coast, in the Pacific time zone. It's happening on the 3rd of July pretty much everywhere on the planet. Let's drop in for a minute. This is a very big moon. It's a supermoon, in fact, which means that it's going to be very close to the Earth. It's in an Earth sign, Capricorn. The moon itself is actually making a grand Earth trine. With Isis and Persephone in Virgo. Jupiter and Isa in Taurus. This very, very big full moon is not conjunct to Pluto, but the moon is casting such a bright, wide-banded light that it's really lighting up the entirety of Capricorn, which means that it is lighting up Pluto that is retrograded back to the 29th degree of Capricorn now. Definitely not conjunct. Definitely not conjunct. The moon is at 11 degrees. Pluto is at 29. Even in my wildest multidimensional weavings, they're not conjunct. They are connected. They are connected, but it's through a lattice work of light. It's through a lattice work of light. Everything that I have been feeling as I've been tuning into the energies that we are moving through right now. I keep hearing the word distillation, which is a form of purification. It's an alchemical chemistry. It's how we make spirits. In spiritual alchemy, it's the way that we purify our spirit. The sun is in Cancer right now. In the last update, I talked about how we are starting to move into that period of the year when the sun becomes conjunct to Sirius. During this full moon on the 3rd of July, that conjunction is getting tighter, though it's not yet exact. However, there's a couple of other players. We've got the asteroid named after Shiva, foundational, divine masculine energy, the stage upon which all of creation dances, is one of the names that Shiva goes by. The sun is at 11 degrees. Shiva is at 12. And then at 14 degrees of Cancer, we have the messenger of the gods, Mercury, exactly conjunct the stellar dimension of Sirius. For me, this feels like it is helping to open up our connection, the conversation that we can have with our higher self, with that aspect of us that is still connected fully to divine energy. One of the templates that the Sirius dimension holds is that of Christ consciousness. What's meant by Christ consciousness, you might ask? Well, there's a lot of different ways to connect with Christ consciousness, the way that I am often drawn to it is through discussion of dimensional realities. So the earth and all of us who reside upon her for the last many thousand years have been existing in a third dimensional plane of existence. That is physical, material existence. The dimension of time, the fourth dimension, is just on the outside. And Earth, as well as all of us who call her home, have started to vibrate now through that to hold a fifth dimensional template. Some of us are already very anchored in that fifth dimensional reality. Others are starting to fluctuate more towards it. Others still are just starting the fluctuations. Some are not able to connect to it yet at all, but that will change because the earth is fully anchored in the fifth dimension now. Any other dimensions within that sphere start to fall away. There's no footing anymore. This doesn't mean the material plane is going away. I want to really make that clear. It does not mean the material plane is going away. It does not mean time is going away. It means that our relationship to the material plane and our relationship to time changes. We have a deeper understanding of the fluidity of time, that it doesn't simply move in one direction. We are able to create physical structures in a different way because of that knowledge. Because we start to understand that I think, therefore I am is actually a magic code, right? It's the thoughts and emotions that I transmit out create the reality around me. That's what it means to be connected to your fifth dimensional beingness. Christ consciousness, as we call it, this is connected more to divine light, to the true. It's starting to really come into contact with our stellar natures. The truth is, Carl Sagan always says, we are literally made of star stuff. We are actually stars embodied. Everything that makes us up comes from the reactions of stars interacting with one another, and our soul light, the soul that is embodied as our human forms, is also stellar light. So Christ consciousness could be likened to the seventh dimension. I've talked about the seventh dimension before in these videos. It is that place, we find the Akashic records there. Our ability to navigate where we've been, where we're going, and how we are now becomes very, very, very accessible. Very accessible. When Sirius and Soul, our star, meet, Sirius is called the higher self of our soul star. We could say Sirius is the soul star to our soul star, our solar system star. When the gateway is open, which is what happens during that conjunction time, we are able to connect through our soul star chakra, which is right above our heads, above the crown, through the center of the sun into the stellar dimension of Sirius. So our access points to where we've been, where we're going, and where we are right now gets really blown open. We can get there, we can make adjustments, we can purify. This is part of purifying the spirit also, is being able to connect with where you've been, where you're going, and where you are right now. Introspection is a big, big part of the purification process, of the distillation process. You allow all of your light to rise up, leaving behind anything that is not light. It shines down upon your being, reveals to you the impurities, so that you can, with love and gratitude for what they have helped you through, release them, allow them to crack open, to boil away, to become the compost that you grow the new state of you from. And as this happens and they open up, even more of your divine light is revealed, rises up, it intertwines with the light that is already above you, and it cascades back down into your being. And this is refining your soul light. So we get to have access to that as this full moon that's so bright and so close to the earth is shining upon us from the place where we structure ourselves. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. It is connected to karma and time, the foundations upon which we build. The sun, Shiva, Mercury, and Sirius are also in a beautiful trine to Saturn, which is sextile the moon. Saturn, you may remember, on the day of the Gemini new moon, started moving backwards through Pisces. Still conjunct to Magdalena. One of the ways that we can play with this energy maybe allow yourself to have a conversation. Allow your outward expression of self, your soul, I am, to come into contact with those places where you have a bit of a sticky relationship with the masculine, with the divine masculine, with karma, and with time. Let that bright light of the moon shine upon those places where you feel like time is not on your side, where you feel like it's a race against the clock, where you are carrying deep wounds with regard to the patriarchy and the masculine. Because of the way that the world has been structured over the last couple of thousand years, there is a lot of, and this does not matter what kind of body and what orientation you connect with the most. You could be the most cisgender white male on the planet, and you still are carrying deep wounds of the patriarchy. And yeah, I'm hearing from my team and guides, like, let's allow a distillation and a purification of this term, the patriarchy. What do we mean when we're talking about this? It's that oppression. It's that, let's get it. Let's get these words just right. As close to true, the highest truth that we can currently access. The wound of the patriarchy is that wound that tells us that we are not creators. It is that place where we started to truly believe that we were separate from one another and from the all of everything. It really hurts because I can feel how deep this wound goes, how deep the scar is, how pervasive in our current societal structure. I can also feel how it's falling away, how we are remembering that these lies that we started to believe because of our own personal traumas as souls. We're starting to wake up from that illusion. We're starting to wake up from that illusion, and it gives me so much joy and so much joie de vie. It gives me joie de vie. But it does not take away from the fact that there is this wounding. There are this scar tissue. And part of this purification process is to go deep within ourselves, to find those places within us that we are carrying those wounds. We can't cure all of society's woes unless we look at ourselves first. It is only through our own personal ancestral shadow work and soul work that we truly are able to affect change. I often, when this sort of energy flows through me, one of the things that I often hear is the John Lennon song, "War is over if you want it." And what that song is actually saying is we cannot end war outside of ourselves unless we stop warring inside of ourselves. If we are in an internal battle between our deepest truth, our soul identity, and the love that we have within our beingness, and what we've been told outside of ourselves or made to believe or believe for whatever reason, I have said many times before, and I will say it again right now, we are a world full of human beings working through complex PTSD. It does not matter what you experienced in this incarnation. 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 3,000 years of war and bloodshed has traumatized every single soul that is incarnate on this planet. And we are here now to help I'm feeling Kali, golden shadow, radiating beautiful golden love, that Ma energy of it's all right now. It's all right now. You're safe now. You're safe now. One of the things that has come in, I'm sorry, I'm jumping around a lot, but there's so much going on with this full moon that I want to make sure I get those places that are really going to most serve us in. So let's go in. I brought Kali in and she instantly took me back to the place that she brought in the cosmic light drops. There'll be a link below, which is my own health battle. My own health battle. Those quotes are very important because it started out as a battle. I was fighting. I was fighting against my body. I thought it had attacked me. And I was doing everything that I could to mask the pain that I was experiencing. I call it my 7-year plus dark night of the soul that was filled with surgeries and so much medication and so much fear and so much pain and so much longing and so much isolation. I had many things going on with me. I had many things going on with me. Most of it boils down to, here's that distillation again, a massive imbalance in my system, and me trying with all my might not to see it. Once I started to see it, I was able to affect change. The piece that came in the newsletter that I'll share a little bit about right now was one of the final diagnoses that I got, which is something called mast cell activation syndrome. Our mast cells are part of the microscopic beings that live within and within all of us, that help regulate all of our systems and process our food and do all of the things for us. Just like we are the micro beings of the universe, we also, as the universe, are filled with micro beings of our own that call us home. The mast cells in particular are the first line of defense. They're the sentries, the guards on duty, who watch for threats. They watch for threats. When your system becomes out of balance, that can be from environmental toxins of any kind. This could be emotional, physical, mental, spiritual, all of the above, as it was probably for me and for, I don't say probably, as it was for me and as it is for so many of us on this planet. They get into a state of overexcitement. Just like if a person experiences a traumatic event, like being involved in a shooting, their system goes on alert, and every time they hear a car backfire, they duck and cover. That's complex PTSD. That's PTSD. That's the system reacting to an old stressor that's still alive within the being. And for me, one of the ways that became my existence was that my mast cells became so hyper vigilant that they literally reacted to everything. They decided that basically every food and anything that wasn't like clear crystalline water and light was actually toxic to my system. It took me a lot of time, and I talk more about it in the newsletter itself, but it took me a lot of time and a lot of deep introspective work to come to this place where I'm sitting in front of you right now, having just eaten a piece of gluten-free banana bread and drank a matcha with oat milk. That was unheard of at the solstice of December 2020. I couldn't eat anything at all. These mast cells needed my loving attention, and that's where Kali's energy came in. That's how we came to be in this conversation right now that we're in. Because rather than continually trying to combat these parts of myself, I said, okay, let's breathe together. What do you need to feel safe again? What can I witness for myself? And this is what distillation also means. When we talk about the shadow work journey, the deep introspection that is required for us to heal old patterns and wounds. And when I say heal, I mean heal. I mean heal. It doesn't mean that every symptom that your body experiences, if you have a bad back or a bad neck or a bad toe, is going away. I mean heal the relationship with. That's what we're healing. I didn't tell my mast cells, you have to allow me to drink a matcha with oat milk now. That would never have worked. I engaged in a conversation and a weaving through deep meditation and going deep within myself, actually having conversations with my mast cells. Do you see what I'm saying here? And through that conversation, I was able to renegotiate what was a threat and what was not. And it is a constant ongoing negotiation that I am in with my body. If I'm going to eat something that, like a nightshade, onions, garlic, hot sauce, that I know might be a trigger food. Potatoes, I love potatoes and French fries. And so if I'm like, I would really like to eat some French fries right now, before I eat those French fries, I ask my system, how do we feel about French fries? Can we process them? Do we have the necessary structures right now with which to allow this to move through my system? And interestingly, sometimes I will get a yes, and then 2 hours later, my system is rocked. And I'm like, but I heard that I could. Like, my system told me, hey, yeah, eat those French fries. And then the next thing I know, I'm getting a little crude right now, I'm on the toilet. One of the things that I've learned is sometimes I get a yes because my system actually needs to purge. So I will get a yes, eat this fatty food, which is hard for me because I don't have a gallbladder. That was one of the surgeries anymore. Your gallbladder controls the ability to process fats. So when you don't have a gallbladder, even coconut oil can be a lot to process. So sometimes I get the Kali fire aspect of my body, and it says to me, yeah, go ahead, eat that really fatty food. And then I spend 2 hours, oh, what's going on? My stomach, I'm so bloated, or I'm so like, I feel like I'm gonna throw up, or I do throw up. And it's like ayahuasca or any of the other cacti, that the medicines that create a purging effect within us. My system had something going on where it actually needed to expel. And because we don't do things like ipecac or castor oil or like clear out our systems on a regular basis. I mean, some people do enemas on a regular, but because this isn't part of, like, we've turned these bodily functions into taboos and something gross, toilet humor, whatever, you know, we can get a backlog. This is why people get candida as well. Like, we're just not allowing our systems to, we're not in a conversation. We just take X-Lax or Gas-X or, you know, Wellbutrin. I've talked about this a lot in these videos. And I don't want to say that it's never the right idea to take medicine, because that's not true. I take an allergy pill every day because my histamines are still overreactive. This does not mean that you're not doing the work if you take a medicine. If you need Klonopin and you have the Mm. Let me feel where we're really going here. If you need a medication and it's helping you, do not say, well, it's not spiritual for me to take medicine, so therefore I need to go off of this medicine. Let yourself have a conversation with your system and with your doctor. Find out what the healthy way to move through these various things is for you. We are each very, very unique. It's just like the autoimmune diseases that are so prevalent on our planet right now. This is because each and every one of us has been treated as if we have the exact same makeup, when in fact we are absolutely unique genetic beings. Every single one of us has a different DNA. Every single one of us has different DNA. So the way that we are going to react to any given external or internal mechanism is completely unique to us. There are similarities. Of course there's similarities because we're all humans. But just like the tiniest alteration of a chromosome can completely change the presentation of the human body, this is true with the most trace microscopic elements that surround us and that are within us. This is not where I expected today's conversation to go. I love when that happens. Oh, let's feel. Okay. Perhaps it came in so loudly to talk about our physicality because of this Earth Grand Trine. We are really being asked to look at how our physical beingness interacts with the world. How our stellar light interacts with the world. This full moon and this next series of full moons, we're going to have, well, as of this full moon on the 3rd, we'll have Neptune, which goes retrograde on the 30th. Retrograde. We have Saturn, which just went retrograde on the Gemini new moon. We have Pluto, which went retrograde back in March and is now at the 29th degree of Capricorn. Venus has just entered shadow of retrograde. The planet of love and beauty will go retrograde officially on the 22nd of July, but is in shadow now, which means tracing those steps, moving forward through those degrees, which the planet will move backwards back through during retrograde. By the end of August, almost all of the planets will be retrograde. This is part of when I say we are being asked to go in to examine our internal mechanisms and find out how we work to bring light to our shadowy realms, to our ways of being in the world, to allow anything that's not us anymore to be released, to become the compost for the new that we are becoming, to anchor through more of our divine soul light. On the 12th of July, the 18th, depending true or mean, the nodes are going to switch from Taurus and Scorpio over into Aries and Libra. As this happens, Hekate is going to move into the 29th degree of Cancer. Pluto's already at the 29th degree of Capricorn, making this beautiful cardinal grand cross, and Kali is right there with Hekate. Kali is right there with Hekate. Kali is actually going to tip into the 0 degree of Leo while the nodes are still at the 0 degree of Taurus and Scorpio. So they're going to, she's ushering that fixed cross, fixed T-square energy through as the nodes shift. And we've talked about fixed energy before. It's those subtle tweaks of transformation that finally give way to the new. And this is part of what Kali's doing. It's that transition from demon slayer to Ma. And that's part of the birthing of the new, which is so much of the template that is this full moon. Let me feel, oh, before I forget, I talked about Sirius. I talked about this stellar conjunction between our star, the sun, and Sirius. On the 7th itself, I would be facilitating a live transmission and light activation. We will talk more about Christ consciousness. We'll talk about the soul star and earth star chakras, and the light activation is going to be an activation of the lattice work of light that connects your soul star chakra to your earth star chakra, into your heart, into your root, and helps you to, with love, anchor through your soul mission. Just that. Just that. It should be amazing. There will be a link below if you're called to join. This is going to be a free transmission and activation on Zoom. You can register using the link below. And if you can't show up live, if you're busy at 2 p.m. on the 7th Pacific time, it's okay because it will be recorded and I will send a replay out to everyone. Let me feel. There is a video, which I'll end cap here with, talking about this Hekate nodes, Pluto Grand Cross. And as we weave closed, I'm called to bring in the energy of Neptune. We've been playing with Neptune this entire time, actually. Neptune, as I said, is going to go retrograde on the 30th of June, so just a few days before the full moon. Neptune will be going retrograde at the 27th degree of Pisces in an exact square to the galactic center. We've talked before about this long-running square, that Neptune is starting to go backwards, is inviting us to go within and see where we are the galactic shaman. See where we are. Yes, there it is. To allow our shamanic eyes and our shamanic ears, our ability to see beyond the veil, to pull back the curtain, to go not up and out into the great cosmos and the great beyond, but to connect to the galactic center and bring that energy into our own divine light, into our physicality. It's once again that place where we are deep sea diving into our states of being. Deep sea diving into our states of being. That's the way it's coming in. And that's the way we're going to close. So on your deep sea dive expedition and through all the dimensions, through all time and space and beyond and beyond, beyond and beyond, as always, in always, so much and many loves to you.